Hey guys, what is going on? Devon here. Hope you guys are having a good day so far, and welcome to another installment of Kingdom Hearts 101. I am joined, per usual, by the man, the myth, the beard, Mr. Josh Music. Josh, say hello.
Hello from the great Dominican Republic. We are on vacation.
Buddy. We are currently on our holiday break in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. We're having a good time. The weather's nice, the food is great, and we've been consuming way too much alcohol than we should.
Don't let them know the truth.
Okay, fair enough. But during our break, we did have some time to sit down and experience the next portion of Kingdom Hearts, being the Key Saga. That includes Kingdom Hearts Key, the browser game from over in Japan, Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key / Union Cross, the mobile game, and of course Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, the 1-hour CG movie that is part of the 2.8 collection on PS4. And in today's episode, we will be covering all of it. We'll try and pace it out so that we're not covering everything like all over the place. We'll try and keep it as smooth as we can. But yeah, we're going to talk about everything involving Key, what we thought of certain plot points, and of course what Josh's predictions are for the next game that we'll be playing before we finally get into Kingdom Hearts 3. So with all of that said, Josh, what were your thoughts on the Key Saga?
Oh boy. I bet playing it would be fun, but holy man, was it rough watching on the plane, the flight here, watching all the plot points. This is like, oh boy, what?
Yeah.
It's funny because it does remind me of Star Wars and the prequels. It's like, yeah, they're fun, but like, man, is there a lot of just fluff to get to like the important parts. It's like I liked it. I like having like more to the story, but I was like, holy cow. And the fact that like a lot of the ideas get repeated, it's like, oh yeah, this idea didn't work, but we're gonna redo it anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. It's kind of cool to see some of the characters though from the main games show up later on and kind of see what their involvement is. But oh man, like I just my whole thing with this is just like I think like I'm hoping it's not gonna have like a too big of an involvement in later in the series, because although you kind of mentioned that there is some stuff that
I'll kind of lay the groundwork right now that not a whole lot from Key and Union Cross and stuff like that is too influential into like the plot of Kingdom Hearts 3. There is some elements that do get brought up, some characters do show up, but it's nothing too overwhelming. If anything that was introduced in back cover, the movie, I think any of the stuff that was introduced in that, like the black box, for example, that stuff kind of gets talked about in Kingdom Hearts 3, but for the most part, the plot is mainly focused on just with our present day cast, while everything involving Key is mostly setting up future plot points for stuff that we'll be exploring, hopefully in the future of the series.
Like back cover I really liked, maybe because it was shorter and more digestible. Like that's what I mean. I guess like playing Key like and taking your time with it would be a little bit less harsh than trying to watch all the major cutscenes in one sitting. I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, no, this was painful trying to go through all of both Key and Union Cross's cutscenes, because they're all text and they mostly repeat scenes at times, and yeah, it's just not the right way to be consuming this kind of plot.
It's meant as, it's like any other thing with like a subscription where you're going to get snippets of past stuff to kind of give you a refresher, because if it's only coming out on a monthly basis, right?
Monthly, bi-monthly, you'll be getting story updates, and even that is just like, no man, this is much.
So Union Cross wasn't as bad. Like we kind of skipped over the refreshers from Key that was in Union Cross, so that made it a little bit easier. But overall, Union Cross was a little bit easier because like there was less. Because like the problem is with Key with all the union leaders wearing masks and stuff like that. There was a few times until I started really catching on. It's like, who the hell is this? Who's this? Who's this one? Like, they all looked at, they got, what?
Yeah, it wasn't until back cover that, like, they attempted to give them any kind of personality that it made us realize, oh, okay.
They're not just all dicks trying to, like, destroy the world. But no, I thought back cover was really good. I would, I guess, the biggest thing is just, like, we weren't consuming this as it was intended, so it was really rough. I like the story. It's just, like, my biggest thing was just, like,
its presentation.
Its presentation. And the idea, like, a lot of it's being... So Key is being basically replayed in Union Cross. It's like, unions didn't work the first time. You know what? After the world ends, we're going to have more unions. It's like, what? Who thought this was a good idea? It's like... And that's what I was talking to Devon. I was like, this is like... Reminds me of Star Wars. It's like, okay, Star Wars comes out, the original series... the original movies, and it's like, okay, we're making it the prequels. Oh, guess what? We're gonna have two armies that are disposable fight each other. This is what it felt like. It's like we got 5 unions that are absolutely disposable fighting each other. They get destroyed. Oh, we need another 5 unions that are probably going to be disposable fighting each other again. It's like, what? So yeah, I guess that's why gripe is like they talk about the idea of history repeats itself. It's like I get that main theme and it's interesting, but at the same time it's like holy, they're not even like trying to hide that this is happening. The idea of the world is just going to continually crap out after so long. So I'm kind of it brings up an interesting point. The point that I like is Brain saying he's got an idea of fixing it, which I'm kind of super curious to seeing in the future in the game series how he's going to fix it. But yeah, overall, it's just like, I would say I don't like these, but I'm trying to put with a grain of salt of how we saw. Yeah,
because technically Union Cross isn't done. They are still getting more story updates. We only watched as far as when they enter Game Central Station, the Wreck-It Ralph world. So that's as far as we got there, just because all of that information up to that point is really all that's going to be important, or I guess that Square wanted to get out the door before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. So,
it's like, and then talking about like time travel on top of the data world. It's like, oh my god, like it's like Nomura, like okay, you went from like 0 to like what the fuck
in so quick a fashion.
I can kind of see like if you're not on the band, like the train has left the station in terms of like how crazy these games are getting. I really hope in Kingdom Hearts 3 eventually when we get there, it's just like a little like toned down in terms of like big crazy plot points. And they're gonna travel back in time to the Data Escape and then create a parallel universe that also restarts the beginning of Kingdom Hearts and another and then that Data Escape will have another parallel universe. It's like, how far can we get with this kind of stuff? Like infinite looping of crazy ideas.
It's like that Patrick meme. All right, I get it.
It's like with Squidward, like when they travel in the future and it's just himself alone, and it's just like it's like, oh my god, my brain, it's so convoluted. It's starting to get a little exhausting at some points, but I'm still excited. I kind of like the Union leader personalities. I kind of like that with back cover. They got personalities and a little bit of backstory. The Master of Masters is hilarious.
I love the Master
He
of
is
Masters.
the Jack Sparrow of the series. Well, Lee is kind of like that too, but like he was even more so like just totally like, yeah, I'm really smart, but I also love the joke quite a bit.
I love the Master of Masters because like he's so like. He is the definition of a wild card because like he is clearly the smartest man in the room, but like he'll constantly throw you for a loop with his wacky personality that you're not really quite sure whether or not his intentions are to be playful or to be like life-threateningly serious.
I think if I remember correctly, it's Dionysus from the Greek philosopher.
I think so, yeah.
He reminds me of him. Like, he was super smart, and I think it was Socrates talking about humans are featherless creature, like bipedal creature, so like walks on 2 feet. So Dionysus shows up to his class with a plucked chicken and says, "Behold, I have a human." So like then he eventually changed the definition a little bit. Like that's what the Masters reminded me of. He would do something like that. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, so a human is bipedal with no feathers. Like I'm just gonna pluck a chicken and bring it into this class." Like. So yeah, I like his character a lot. I kind of feel like my prediction is like, I don't know, he seems like such an in-between guy. I can't tell if he's evil or not. Like I have a gut feeling that he secretly, because he knew this end of the world was happening, but I'm kind of wondering if he honestly planned it. He seems like the type of guy who's like, okay, the world's perfectly peaceful right now.
I'm just going to screw it.
No, but seriously, like, the world is perfect, and he knows supposedly the end of times is coming, and he gives all of his disciples a specific role that ends up causing the end of the world. Like it seems a little bit like it seems really fishy. That I don't know. We'll see, but like it just seems kind of weird that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna give you specific roles that you guys have to do. The world's gonna end anyways, but like everybody's obviously trying not to have it to end. But he's like, fuck it, I may or may not disappear. Like it's not gonna be my problem anymore. Yeet. You just yeets himself out of existence. I do like though the fact that you can make your own character, and you see them come in cutscenes, and they have a bit of importance. You said, you kind of gave me a little bit of a spoiler, I guess. You said your character player may show up in some form.
Okay, so yeah, this is more something of Kingdom Hearts 3. So as of recording this, the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 hasn't come out yet, but there have been a couple trailers that have hinted at a certain other characters that we've met. Their importance is going to be explored. And a lot of online theories have been sort of piecing together like, oh my god, is this character the player character from Union Cross? So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that all comes together, if that's true or not. Which, I mean, this is just... Literally any time a Kingdom Hearts trailer comes out, everybody is just like, Nomura has opened my third eye today. Like, it's...
Like, that guy's got to be constantly doing, like... heavy drugs or something to come up with this stuff. I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, he's working on this. He was working on Final Fantasy Versus 13 for a while. Now he's working on the Final Fantasy 7 remake. It wouldn't surprise me if he's just like, yeah, no, I gotta, later today.
He's in a hyperbolic chamber, just like, constantly like, what's it called? Lucid dreaming and like tripping through like time and space in his mind, thinking up of new ideas. He's like Elon Musk of video games.
Yeah.
No, but like, so my question is then, are they gonna have just like it being mentioned as your character, or are you gonna be able in this DLC create your own character?
No, I think because it'll be continuing the story from what happens in Kingdom Hearts 3, so I think it's just going to be a plot point that they're just going to drop and be like, oh shit, like...
That makes sense. It'd be kind of hard to just bring that all into it, but I do like the aspect about Key and Union Cross that you can customize your own character, which is kind of cool. So I do like that aspect of it, like that finally, and the fact that they're mobile games is like, that's kind of cool. Like pretty much anybody, like as long as you have a cell phone, that's, I would say within the last 5 years or so, so that's the majority of the people on the world right now. Would be able to play these games. And are they absolutely free or?
Yeah, the Union Cross, the app itself is free to play. Anybody can play it. There are some microtransactions that happen that if you want to like upgrade your shit and whatnot. But yeah, it's totally free to play. Anybody can hop in and choose your union leader that you want to be in.
Other question.
Yada yada.
Do you have to be connected to Wi-Fi or data to play it?
Yeah, you need Wi-Fi and data to play it.
Oh my god, that's the reason I hate new mobile games. Because it's like, okay, so if I'm not at home and I want to play this game, instead of like any other game, like if I want to play chess or whatever, I shouldn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi or data. Like when it's just like I don't know, maybe just me being grouchy about the whole thing. But like I heard about that too. Like with remember Angry Birds when it first came out, you didn't need to be hooked up to Wi-Fi or data, and I went to re-download it on this new phone. And it's like, no, you need to be connected to the internet at all times. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I can rack, especially in Canada, our cell phone plans suck for data. If anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
I'm digressing from this stuff from the main game. You know what's weird though? I started thinking about though. Nomura diverted from his usual 3.
Is that so?
5.
Oh, we got 5 now.
We got 5 foretellers, 5 union leaders. So that's interesting. So that's a 10. If you think, well, if you add the 2, it's 10. So
actually, that reminds me. So we've been talking about the foretellers. You know, they're interesting and whatnot. You know, Yura, Unicorn Man, Ased, Gula, Envy, Ava, all of them. But we haven't really talked about the union leaders from Union Cross, because some of them are familiar faces, Josh.
Yes.
So we got Ephemer, who's been a main character in all of Key, and Scald is also there as well. But then we were introduced to the 3rd union leader. It's Ventus from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Roxas lookalike. What? Nomura, what are you doing?
And then there's also
Brain.
Brain.
Brain. Nomura with his names.
The other very important one. Well, I don't know. I forget his real name, but
his name is Laurium. Who's the human of Marluxia from Chain of Memories.
And then you've got, again, I forget her real name already. Larxene.
Yeah, so Elrena is the human form of Larxene. They also show up. So yeah,
and she's still a bitch.
She is kind of a bitch.
Well, like even her Trithi was like, when did you start caring about people? It's like, you just got roasted.
She hasn't changed.
No, but like, yeah, like, again, this is an interesting series. I would say I hate it, but I dislike how much more confusion that's being added. It's like, yes, it's kind of cool to see unless they're going to do another prequel to this stuff. They don't. If it gets any further back in time, I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, no. My hope that and a lot of people have had this, is like a complete remake of Key, like in completely HD, make it an MMO, and just go to town. Like I feel like that would be a much better way to, for people to process the plot, and if the Key Saga is going to be vital to where the series goes after the Xehanort saga ends, then I feel like that'd be a perfect way for people to be like, to make it more digestible for people to understand going forward. But that's just, I
think either that or do what they did with back cover and just make, okay, we're gonna just have the important plot points done in like a 3D animated video where people don't, like, it's a little bit more streamlined, more important. Like, that's what I mean, like watching Key, watching everything, like Union Cross was a little bit easier to digest because we skipped the recaps from Key, but like watching all of Key, I was like, holy cow, like we were also really tired on this trip flying up, so like I was having a hard time staying awake, let alone digesting the information and actually letting it sink in and memorizing it. But like, even with that, like, I think if I was 100% like rested and focused, like, I think I still would have a hard time digesting all that information in one sitting. So I think honestly, if they're gonna, at the end of the Xehanort saga or whatever you want to call it, this bit of Kingdom Hearts saga, if they trim down the fat with Key and even probably Union Cross, like, make some videos or just make it, maybe combine the two, make an HD remake of it and cut out a lot of the excess stuff, like cut out the recaps, like just make it all one game, cut out all the recaps, because it just makes no sense to have recaps. Just make a shorter game, more digestible. I think that would be better. Like, I think that's my biggest gripe is like, yes, playing it as a mobile game with updates as they come out and having a recap if you haven't played in a while. Yep, that's fair and good and like fine and dandy. But like to sit down as us to watch it is really rough. It's a really tough. But yeah, I do like the characters from it. The story is still really interesting, even though my fault is just like, I don't get, like, I'm hoping don't spoil it to me too much, but like, do they finally like clear up my issues with this in the later games?
A little bit, without getting into spoilers. They do kind of touch on a few things, but not all of it. So because the assumption is that they're going to leave a good chunk of it for the next saga, so that'll be further explored.
Yeah, like I give it some more time to think about like things, and probably like I'll try to rewatch bits of Key and try to understand a little bit better. Like, I think like the Masters knows no matter what, like time repeats itself. There's a quote, I'm gonna misquote it too. It's something to do with a strong man goes through hard. What was it? Oh, let me look it up. Just give me 1 second. This will.
Yeah, no problem. I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I think the story of Key and Union Cross and basically all the pre-Keyblade War stuff is like really fascinating. I just think the presentation is really, really off.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts summed up in a nice package. Thanks, Devon. That's exactly what I was going for. The information that they have, super interesting. The way that they present it, not so good. Like, if it was presented better, I think it would be fantastic, but it's just the way it's presented. Like, that's why I keep saying back cover. I really like, because it was, what was it, like, 15 minutes?
No, it 20? Was about an hour long, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, it was an hour.
Back cover didn't feel like that long.
Yeah, like, it went by. Well, that's because all the other cutscene compilations we've been watching have been like 2 and 3 hours long, so probably.
I would say, honestly, like, if you just want to get to the heart of what's going, like, I hope they come up with once Union Cross is done with all its updates, I hope they come up with something like back cover for it.
Yeah.
But I would say anybody that wants to know what's going on with Key, just watch back cover and then just start playing Union Cross until they come up with something like that. Here's the quote. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So that's why I keep thinking, like, with the Masters, maybe he knows, like, they were in a really good time. So, like, they were in the good times, and it was creating weak men. So, and then that's when the war was happening, because they had weak men, and it was creating hard times. They were not trusting each other. They were, like, cutthroat. They were supposed to follow the rules. And that's what led to the Keyblade War. So now they were in the hard times. So it's like a cycle. It's always a constant cycle.
Holy shit, that actually makes so much sense.
No, but seriously,
that is ultra Kino if I have ever heard it.
No,
God damn.
Didn't the beginning of back cover they explain that the land was perfectly peaceful and that all the worlds were joined together and like everything was prosperous? And then it's like, okay, then the Master's like, I might disappear one day, and it's like, then a war is gonna happen, and the end of the world is gonna happen, and everybody's like, what? Like, what? How could this happen? And he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give you guys roles to follow through. And then they end up like turning on each other, even though, like, as far as I know, well, he kind of gave the idea that there is going to be a traitor, but like, yeah, it might be just a constant cycle, and that's what we're seeing in the beginning of. Why am I drawing up, like, not Key, the other one?
Union Cross?
Union Cross. We're kind of seeing something like that. Like, I know it's not finished yet, but we're kind of seeing something like that. Well, the fact that, you know, you've got 2 of the members from the Organization 13 showing up, like, you know that something's going to happen where they flip and turn evil. So it seems to be a constant cycle that's just bad creates good, good creates bad. Darkness creates light, light creates darkness, this whole constant cycle. And it seems like the Masters is really just trying to figure out a way of ending it. see, and that's the thing. Like they did not explain at the beginning of back cover what happened to get to that prosperous land. They never said, oh, beforehand the world was also in darkness. They just said, oh, the world is perfectly fine, like all the worlds are connected, like all the different worlds are connected, like everything's prosperous. Like they never say, oh yeah, there was another Keyblade War before this, or anything like that, or oh, there was darkness before this. So yeah, that's the only thing I could see that would really finalize and explain everything smoothly, because right now it's just like, it just seems like the Masters got bored, gave his disciples roles to do to end the world, as he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna disappear and fool around. But yeah. Was there any other? I feel like we're obviously missing some points here.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to think. I can't really think of much else to add, because I think we've kind of hit the nail on a lot. Oh, we learned so the Master's Keyblade, which was passed down to his sixth apprentice, Lushu, that's Master Xehanort's Keyblade there, Josh.
Yeah.
If you recall, in that one cutscene from Recoded that had young Xehanort, which talked about how each Keyblade wielders pass down their Keyblade. It's, there's a whole talk of legacy and whatnot. They explicitly described how Master Xehanort's Keyblade is one of the oldest Keyblades in existence. So to see it come back to realize, oh shit, that was the Master of Masters Keyblade. Because he's responsible for taking the key, the Kai blade, and sort of erecting weapons in like its image, and how the first Keyblade that he made from that was Master Xehanort's Keyblade, which the Master took his all-seeing eye out of his face and into this Keyblade.
Yeah, that is
so that he could
raw.
see the future. That's very raw.
So the other thing is too, like, I've been wondering about, like, how old is Xehanort during and like just before, I'm saying like maybe a couple days before and then after the Keyblade War, because he talks about multiple times that he survived the Keyblade War and he wants to see what happens afterwards. But look at and the one thing I noticed was Ven shows up. He looks slightly younger than you see in Birth by Sleep, but not very young, like not super young. So it makes me wonder, like, Master Xehanort must have been an old man just before the Keyblade War. But then where does his young self, like, how far back does that go? Like, was he... That's
you gotta remember, Josh. You gotta remember, Josh. The entire Key Saga takes place 100 years before Birth by Sleep even starts. So
really,
yeah. So that's why everybody was so confused when Ven showed. It was just like, how old is this kid? What has he seen? Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did they ever say? Because I didn't know that it happened 100 years beforehand.
Yeah, the entirety of the Key Saga takes place 100 years before the events of Birth by Sleep. That's when the Keyblade War happens, and when Birth by Sleep comes around, the entire portion of Key and sort of what caused the Keyblade War to happen, that was all treated as like a fairy tale. Like, that was passed into like legend and whatnot. So that was what sort of caused Xehanort to be like, so what would happen if that shit happened again, you know?
The other thing is, so I noticed too that they talk about the Keyblade War, like how it happened and whatnot. They talk about in Union Cross that they won't tell anybody about. They fail. I don't know how, but I know that they do fail, because how the heck does Kyrie's grandmother know about what happened with the Keyblade War?
Oh, shoot, you're right.
That was the one thing I remembered earlier, and I'm glad I remembered to say it now, because I was thinking about that earlier. It's like, they said... they were talking about, they're like, oh yeah, we can't let anybody know right now about what happened with the Keyblade War. I was like, wait a minute, how did Kyrie's grandmother know about it? She talks about it like multiple. You see her talk about it multiple times throughout a couple different games. So they fail, or someone says something. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it does. So that will be interesting to see. And then also the fact that Ven, when he shows up for Birth by Sleep, has no memory. So at some point his memory gets erased as well. So there's a lot of in between that they still got to fill out, and that's what's got me kind of excited with this Union Cross game now, to see like where it's gonna go. But I have a feeling like maybe something to do with like something along the lines of what happened with Sora in terms of like having his memory erased might happen with Ven in some sort.
Oh, that's true.
I'm not too sure how it happens, but maybe they erase his memory for the cause of good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's some other thing that I happened to think about. I was like, yeah, wait a minute, Kyrie's grandmother. We talked about the Keyblade War and the children of had sources of light in them to help rebuild a new world. It's like, wait a minute, they just talked about it in Union Cross that no one should know about this. Like, hold up. But yeah, Brain has definitely got me interested. Mm-hmm. I couldn't recognize him as any character from the later games. Wait a second, you said this is also 100. So that means Marluxia and Larxene are also super freaking old too.
Mm-hmm.
Holy. Wow. So I don't know how they're going to get... Well, then again, their time travel BS is...
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, as long as your heart and body can split, you can do just about... Well, that's only back in time. How do they say going forward in time again?
They don't really explain how exactly going forward in time works per se, because we know that Maleficent went back, apparently after getting stabbed by Riku, decided, I want to go back in time. So she does that to try and change shit, and then Darkness, in quotations, Darkness, we don't know really who he is, says, we need you to go back to the original timeline. She's like, how exactly do we do that? We're not allowed to do that. And he's just like, there is a way. And then that explains how she gets back in Kingdom Hearts 2, apparently.
I like to imagine that it's actually Ness from the Nintendo Earthbound games. And he's just, he's like the dark form of him, Dark Ness.
Dark, shut the okay, we need. Well, that's too Kino. All right, let's wrap this up. So altogether, I would say, yeah, Union Cross is a very key in its entirety. Is a really interesting place in Kingdom Hearts history. It's just not really presented well.
It's dry.
It's very dry.
It's very dry. That's the issue with it.
If there was a way that if back cover got a sequel that explained everything, then we might be safe. But for now, if you are interested, just watch back cover. That'll catch you up just enough. And then if you are kind of interested, then play some more of Union Cross. It's available on all mobile platforms, and it's kind of fun to play at times.
I might download it and give it a shot. The problem is I don't make enough time for video games as it is, but yeah. I might give it a shot at some point. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that it'll come out, if they come out with another cutscene movie of some sort for Union Cross, I'll watch the heck out of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree. Key, very dry, probably because we watched it in one tired plane ride sitting, which is not how it was intended to be digested, so take that with a grain of salt. But on the other hand, even if you do play it, because now that all the updates are out, there's no point unless you pace yourself and make yourself wait a month or something like that to play the next section of the game. It's just not going to make any sense to do that. Yeah. So I would just say, I watch back cover, play Union Cross while it's still out, I guess, but I'm hoping, again, they'll do something like that. Nomura seems to be very intelligent, and I have no doubt they'll do something along the lines of having another cutscene movie come out or doing something to kind of streamline it a little bit. But interesting, just really hard to digest. Yeah. So that's my criticism. That's my thoughts on it.
Good. Cool.
Super excited. My predictions for the future of the series. So we got one more game.
So we do have one more game. So before we actually go into predictions, we have to do a little bit of flashing back, because Josh, there was actually a portion of one of the games that we did not cover that we actually have to go back and talk about, and that has to do with Birth by Sleep. So hi, I have the microphone in my hand for those who don't know. So while we were covering Birth by Sleep, we covered, okay, thank you, Josh. Now you have your hand on the mic. So while we were covering Birth by Sleep, we covered all the campaigns of Terra Ventus and Aqua, and we also covered the final episode. However, as part of the Final Mix edition of Birth by Sleep, you know how every Final Mix game has 2 secret movies. Birth by Sleep, of course, had a secret movie that talked about how, Sora's going to be the one to save everybody. However, in addition, Birth by Sleep also had a secret episode. It was playable, and it showed sort of what Aqua was going through at the moment in the Realm of Darkness. Obviously, we can't play it right now because we're away, but we are going to watch some cutscenes here just to sort of get caught up, and it'll sort of give you a backdrop of what to expect from the next title. So we're going to take a break here for a quick second, and we will come back momentarily.
Okay,
we're back.
Girl.
Okay, so we just watched through the secret episode, of Birth by Sleep. I kind of want to talk about basically that last little montage that took place there. So, obviously, the entirety of the secret episode is about Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness, but it showed us some new scenes of, like, Mickey was there, showing Kairi going through Twilight Town, Diz doing some experiments, and then some other tomfoolery interesting that led to the final words being shown off as Birth by Sleep Volume 2. When people caught wind of this cutscene, people found it really interesting. Like, there could be a follow-up to Birth by Sleep that showed Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness. Like, that's really cool. However, Nomura was just bogged down with work at the time and didn't really have an opportune way to make it a full-fledged game to sort of explore, I guess, the intricacies of what Birth by Sleep Volume 2 was going to be. I guess some of it was also going to focus on Kairi during Kingdom Hearts 2. But yeah, all of this didn't come to pass. However, cut to a few years later when Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue is finally unveiled for the PS4. Obviously, this came with 3 titles. Dream Drop Distance HD, Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, and a completely new title called Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage. I hate these titles so much. Basically, what we gathered from the first trailer that was revealed, as well as information that was coming out, is basically all the ideas that Nomura had or I guess the basic idea he had for what Birth by Sleep Volume 2 would be. The biggest of which being, it would be about Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness. What made this even more exciting, and basically the reason to get this entire package, is that, yes, it was a completely new title, but this was also kind of the Final Chapter Prologue section of the 2.8 title, because this also served as a proto-prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3, as it shows some events of Dream Drop Distance that basically sets the stage for Kingdom Hearts 3, and also the game was rendered in Unreal Engine 4, so it's the new gameplay, not gameplay style. Well, yeah, the gameplay is very similar to what Kingdom Hearts 3 will be. The graphics and art design is basically an archetype of what Kingdom Hearts 3 is. Basically, it's a very elaborate tech demo for what Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to look like and what it's going to play like, and it just so happens to have plot in there. So, nice. Yeah.
I'm excited then.
Yeah. So, I guess to go off of that, Josh, what are your predictions for 0.2?
Okay, first off, I kind of agree with you with the naming scheme. I think if it's not a main Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, or 3 title, I'm going to call it Kingdom Hearts Mouthful of Peanut Butter with No Milk
yeah.
title. Because 1, 2, 3, like we can name them from like the beginning. Like, yeah. Birth by Sleep could be Kingdom Hearts Mouthful of Peanut Butter with No Milk #1. Yeah. And then just keep going from there. Because like, yeah, I agree. These names are free. Okay, anyways, my predictions. Boy, man, like having Aqua stuck in the Realm of Darkness, like it'd be interesting to see a lot of like, because they talk about throughout the whole game series of the fact that they have synthetic or artificial Heartless that they have to fight. So it'd be interesting to see like the pure. Because we've only seen like one type of pure heartless beings. It's like those big, ugly looking, scraggly haired guys with the big freaking ripped chests and stuff like that. Like it'd be interesting to see some other types that are also pure. So I'm kind of excited for that. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that. It'd also be interesting to see gameplay wise them kind of coming together and like narrowing down exactly what they want and what they don't want in terms of gameplay. Because he said this is basically like a tech demo for the third one. So I have a feeling that they're going to finally streamline it down to like certain things, and that's going to be it. I kind of hope actually after this, like after this Xehanort saga is over, like the next few games, I'm hoping they just stick with the same gameplay. Like it's kind of cool, yes, sometimes I'm adding things, and of course like if you have it on mobile platforms, like you have to change things up a little bit, but the fact that we keep seeing like a lot of things change all the time gameplay wise, it's like holy cow. Like it's like, okay, we know that card systems kind of suck. We got rid of that. Like enough of the experiments. Just keep with what works, and then like change what doesn't until you figure out exactly what's the most popular and what works the best. So I'm hoping we can finally hammer that through with this game. So I'm excited about that. I have a feeling that they're gonna finally like have a close to a very polished gameplay style. I predict, because we do see, maybe because we're knowing these timelines are getting really messed up, it'd be interesting to see if Aqua bumps into a past version of Riku, because Riku was stuck in the darkness at one point. It'd be kind of interesting to see if Aqua bumps into, like, even if it's just a fragment, like you don't actually physically see him, but like she talks with them or something like that. And same thing with like King Mickey. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where things start to get blurred. What else? Might see Maleficent.
Oh yeah, that's a possibility.
Because again, like with her going through timelines and stuff like that, it'd be interesting to see her pop up through there as well. Other than that, I can't really think about. So we don't know much about like the Dark Realm. Like this is totally gonna be all new. I can't think of what else to predict possibly, other than hopefully some new pure heartless types. And what I do know what happens in the darkness. Hopefully Aqua kind of bumps into a few characters that we know that have popped in there before. Because other than that, I can't think of anything other than maybe her just getting stronger and
We're almost there, Josh.
I'm excited though. I really am excited to finally see like, okay, is Nomura, this craziness all coming it's slowly coming to a point, like we're reaching the mountaintop of just crazy gameplay and story, and it's really exciting actually. I've really been enjoying this game series, even though it's sometimes I'm like, oh my god, my brain, I need like another 6 cups of coffee to be able to comprehend him what he's trying to say. But I really am enjoying this.
I'm enjoying that you're enjoying this.
I have a feeling it's going to be pretty short though, because he said it's 2.8. I have a feeling this game's going to be short.
I will confirm that it is pretty short. Like, we'll probably be able to complete it in one sitting. So,
it'd be interesting though. Here's a prediction. No, I don't think they would. You said it's pretty short though. I wonder if they're going to try to do the multiple characters thing again, like when they did with the first Birth by Sleep. I think it'd be kind of cool to see. I don't know if they'll do Ven and Terra, because obviously like they're both kind of screwed after the first game. So it'd be kind of interesting though to see some other characters. I'm not too sure. It'd be kind of interesting. Well, you talked about Kairi, so it'd be kind of interesting to see if we have a little bit of story / gameplay with her. And who else? It'd be kind of interesting to see Mickey as well. Other than that, or Mickey and Riku, and they're traveling through the darkness in their little story bits through the darkness would be kind of interesting to see. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'd hope they bring that game mechanic back because I thought that was kind of interesting to be able to see parts of the story through the other character's eyes that you don't see initially through like one character. It also gives kind of replay value that they also switch up play styles. Mm-hmm. So I hope that makes it back. That would be pretty freaking sweet. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I can't think of much else. I'm just excited, I guess.
Yeah, I'm excited too. We are almost there, Josh. We are almost at the end, and
and then there's also 2.9.9.
No, stop.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
Kingdom Hearts. I eat way too much peanut butter, and now my jaw's locked shut.
And on that note, I think that's a pretty good as time as any to cut it here. Thank you, Josh, as always, for joining me on these episodes.
Yeah, nothing but pleasure with this game series with my buddy.
Yeah, buddy. All right, then. And I suppose that will be a perfect time to close it. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Kingdom Hearts 101. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below on what you think of the Key Saga. And also, if you think Josh's predictions are on point. And, as always, be sure to follow Shadow Shoveler Productions on both Twitter and Instagram for more information on yours truly. And until next time, I'd say that's about it. Josh, do you have any final remarks?
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Shut the Great. Now we're gonna be bombarded with political tirades in the comment section.
Cut that out.
It's gonna be, oh my god, this. All right, whatever. Thank you all so much for listening. May your heart be your guiding key. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.